someone who has been a bit into the world of Chinese scooters and bicycles in the last year. It's likely very affordable for us now with the Duoc name, since it's relatively good and relatively inexpensive to manufacture. This roller is a Duo, but not exactly that, and why I'll explain in this video. So let's start with this naming thing, because when the distributor contacted me to try, test, and give my opinion on this scooter, that's how he started. This is a Duoc. I did not quite understand the thing, why it needs to be kept a secret. To invent a new brand name, a relatively good ringing sound, a relatively established brand name place. Then I checked the manufacturer's website, and it turns out it's not such a secret after all, since it's on the manufacturer's website too. Just the same, they sell their scooters under this name. I don't understand why. Anyway, this confusion with the name bothers me a bit, but this won't be the biggest problem with this scooter. There are a few others as well. Of course, I can report on the good things too, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. As usual, let's start with some specifications, then a bit of assembly, and then a bit about my opinion on the exterior. I will only talk about what it's like with this roller at the very end. Well, I'll quickly go over the specifications. This roller is 1400 watts. It has a 6-cylinder rear-mounted engine. The battery pack is precisely 960 watt-hours, 48 volts. It has a 20 ampere-hour capacity. That is true as well. There are brakes at both the front and rear on the scooter. The usual disc brakes found with a 14mm disc, and also with dragging brakes. Mechanical disc brakes, so this scooter still lacks hydraulics. The disc did not come through. However, what's joyful is that we get engaged electronic engine brake too, which naturally applies to the rear wheel, so this adds significantly to the braking power. The scooter, more precisely this motor. The engine can deliver a maximum torque of 29 Newton meters. It claims to be able to climb a 15-degree incline and says it can go up to 25 kilometers per hour. Clock is the recommended top speed. The achievable distance is about 70 to 80 centimeters. Can be relied on for kilometers, at least that's what they claim. The frame is naturally made of aluminum. The maximum load it can take is 100 kilograms, so 220 pounds. Passenger above a certain weight is not recommended to use. That's what they say. The recommended height range is between 4 feet and 11 inches and 6 feet and 6 inches. It's also important to talk about shock absorption. As you can see, there are large swing arms both at the back and the front. There is vibration damping on both sides. The front suspension is the usual C suspension. In the front suspension, stabilization. That's not really stabilization. It's just plain. There is also a spring at the back wheel. In the spring inside the back wheel, there's some form of damping too. Bluetooth support, and there's also a downloadable app for it. It's needed because of the fitted instruments. Quite simple, not much information can be found on it. Nevertheless, with the two buttons, you can, with the power button and the function button, you can access quite a lot of things. For example, pressing it 3 times switches to the outward mode. Between miles per hour and kilometers per hour display, it can be stretched 4 times. We can turn on Bluetooth by pressing it 5 times, then we can activate the cruise control. With a short press, we can activate it. There's lighting in the front and the back. However, this scooter does not have turn signals. Of course, the S10 can also be folded in the usual way. It can be folded down. The helm, we can do this in the usual way. It's a bit hard to operate. So, at the back near the corner supporter, there's a knob that we can lift up. A hook catches on here, and with this we can lift the scooter. The weight of the scooter, 59 pounds, so I definitely wouldn't call it light. It can be carried, but if not necessary, better not to. The length of the treadmill, by the way, I like it. It's longer than it was the case with the Kukirin G3. Its width is not too much, just 19 centimeters. However, the manufacturer highlights the seat height, says that the scooter's bottom is 6.4 inches from the ground. This could be an important detail if it were about an off-road scooter, but this isn't it. Another point worth mentioning is that the charging port is not on the side, which I'm not a fan of, but on the top. At the treadmill, what's also important is that it has two side lighting strips. I can turn that on too. It looks like this. It glows orange, but unfortunately this does not replace a cat's eye or a reflector. So what I can recommend is that if you want to travel in the dark, then buy some reflective stickers and stick them on. I feel this light is a bit too little for that. Okay, so the specs are set. I also mentioned what the scooter looks like from the outside, but I think I won't say that. You can also see in the video, there are mudguards both in front and at the back, which I think are useless. Neither is lie over the part of the wheel from which it kicks up the row upwards. So the category is missing, but despite that, it looks good. I think the swing arms closely resemble the Kukren. Here it's yellow, there it's orange. That's about the difference. So there's no issue with the exterior. It's made of good materials and well assembled. What I really like is the dashboard, or more precisely, the layout of the dashboard. It's positioned quite steeply, so the sun can't shine into it as much as it usually does into scooter dashboards. So it's relatively easy to see even in sunlight. Okay, that's it for the exterior. Let's go. Let's get to the unboxing and assembly. I've received quite a bit of criticism lately about not telling you that these scooters really need to be assembled properly. I always just talk about needing to put the handlebars on and then you can go. Yes, even with this steering assembly, it all comes down to this. There are two cables that need to be connected inside and 6 screws to be screwed in. We set the brake and basically the roller tuning is done, obviously with a Chinese scooter though. You need to check the screws, tighten if too tight, loosen if too loose, especially on moving parts as they do occur. The swing arms, the spring elements need to be checked for enough grease. If not, it must be replenished. This is definitely necessary maintenance and commissioning at the first launch. As I said, for this scooter, the disc brakes are mechanical, and unfortunately the mechanical disc brakes need to be adjusted. The factory setting doesn't work. It didn't catch. Anyway, for now, I could stretch enough on these brothels, these yellow brothels, to make the braking okay. I'm sure that later on, due to stretching, this will need to be tightened further. Then you will also need tools, as the tension needs to be adjusted down at the wheels. That's all there is to assembly, not too complicated. I think everyone will be able to do it. If you feel you're not up to it and say you want to do this greasing and stuff, then take it to a professional and have it done. If you do, then there's a good chance you'll be able to use it for a longer time. To use this scooter, there's something else I need to talk about, the experiences before the app, since I had quite a strange time with it. The installation instructions are included. A hint that there's an app for the scooter, which includes the feature to activate the cruise control within this app. The immediate start, this can be turned on from the app. However, they don't provide a link or a QR code with it. No app name given, so we have no idea what to download and from where for it to work. The scooter. Anyway, I had an idea since the Smart Life app was used in the previous test with the bike. Interestingly, I was able to use it. It was a smart home app, but it recognized the bicycle. So I took out my phone. It was installed from Smart Life, I checked. Interestingly, it recognized the scooter too. Though true, not as S10, but that really doesn't matter. After all, the most important thing, we already have access to the functions, because this way we have access to cruise control. We get access to, for a pushless start, we can access the modes of operation, by the way. There are 4, I haven't mentioned that yet. The first is to turn off when there's no electric drive. There's an eco, a standard, and a sport mode, which, however, we can't access even from the app. Turning off the speed limit, this scooter goes up to 25. Many can't go faster than miles per hour in its current state, and there's no way to turn this off. So when they say in the description that the recommended speed is 25 kilometers per hour, they understand this, so it can go this fast. So don't even want more. This 15 miles per hour is what it is. This comes with it. Oh, these are pretty strange things from the application and usage perspective. And ultimately, it's not fatal, so it's not such a huge issue. However, regarding the app, it is definitely a major mayor. It can be seen as a positive that it has route tracking, it has route recording. So if we use the app and start this, we will see it. looking back at the map, we can see where we've been. To make a log, we can check where we went that day with the scooter and how far we traveled. Obviously, we can measure from the first activation. Now, the total distance covered can also be measured from the last activation. These, in my opinion, are basics. Now, so it seems that I've covered everything related to this. So now we are past the specifications, the packaging, and that's behind us. The app and the appearance stayed the same. That part about what it's like to scooter around with this scooter. Well, actually, it's not bad. However, there are one or two problems that must be addressed without fail. I should mention that the suspension is quite stiff. The rear shock absorber it can be adjusted, as I said, but the first one not at all. So I definitely don't recommend this scooter for rougher terrain, rather for a bike path. Walking or cycling, I don't recommend it among cars because you won't go more than 15 miles per hour as it can't go faster. Honestly, I don't really recommend that go over 15.5 miles per hour with it because the handlebar is incredibly narrow. Go Kirin G3 handlebar 68 centimeters, while this is merely 60 centimeters plus the studio. It's all built together here with the dashboard and everything, so you won't really have the opportunity to replace the steering wheel. Another really big issue is that the manufacturer specified a 1400 watt power for this motor. And in my opinion, this motor is not 1400 watts. This is it's very good. If there's 1000 watt, that's 1400 watts. It's probably the peak torque. I've tried various types of scooters last year and this year too. I've had 1000 watt, 1200 watt and 2000 watt ones. But I'm driving 1000 watts, so I pretty much know this motor. In this state, it does not have 1400 watts. On the incline, I usually use for testing. It's a 1200 watt cookie cutter model. I could barely manage to get on it. With this, I can't even make it halfway up the hill. The Kirin G3 has 1200 watts, and this one supposedly has 1400 watts. As I said, the manufacturer specified the ground clearance as if it were some kind of off-road scooter, but they know it's not, since if we look at the tires, respectful, changing, suitable for urban hard surfaces, they put rubber on it. So this scooter is definitely not suitable for off-roading. However, it has relatively good road quality, suitable for medium quality roads already. This will do. Some of you might think the 15.5 miles per hour top speed is not enough. In my opinion, there is no problem at all. Thank you for watching. Don't even try to go faster than 15 miles per hour. And with that, the steering, with this wheel size, you definitely don't want to go faster than 15.5 miles per hour. So what should the conclusion be? The conclusion is that I really don't know what happened. Should buy this scooter. It's not bad. There's nothing wrong with it. The materials are good. It looks good. It's well assembled. Just that just a tiny bit extra is missing that would really stir people up and say, this is it. This is what I long for. So if you want a good city scooter, then which is likely to serve you well for many years, one that can take you up moderate slopes, something that looks good. People don't turn around after the same ones, but it still looks good. Then go ahead and buy it if you're moved by this shape. If the color moves you, if you move it, if this knowledge moves you, then buy it. There will be no problem with it. As usual, the price comes at the end, as it tends to be right now at this moment. The introductory offer for this scooter, which is why this video was made with a coupon. Currently, this scooter's price is around 270,000 forints. This is neither too much nor too little. I think this price is right on point, reflecting the knowledge, the skills, what this scooter can do. That's pretty much it. I think that's the test for this week. Next week, however, will be very interesting. I'll be presenting with a motorcycle accessory. Click subscribe to the channel and come back in a week. Bye.